If you want to learn more about the real Belize and listen to local and expat stories of those living in Belize, you're in the right place. This is Belize Talk Radio. Please welcome your host, Belize and international real estate expert, Macarena Rose.
Hello, it's Macarena from Belize Talk Radio, and boy, do we have an interesting topic for you to learn about today. We are in Placencia, and we are actually with Randy Sutherland, and as you can tell, we're at the Placencia Sound Studio, and I have to tell you, just being able to see my voice move that thing is way too much fun, but it all comes to one person that's done all of this, and I call him the sound magician.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely, Randy. So, all respect, you've done some amazing things. You've worked with amazing, beautiful people. You really have done a lot with your career. And if I'm not mistaken, you've done this on your own, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's just online.
So something I share with, not only my children, but, the youth is that you look for mentors. And when you look for those people that are doing what you want to be doing, you emulate them. And you are an example of that. Tell me your story. Where were you born?
So I was born in San Ignacio town, but right after I was born, I went to Orange Walk, and that's where I grew up. Went to middle school, high school. After I graduated from high school in Orange Walk, I came back to Cayo to pursue computer science in university, but I ended up not finishing, and I kind of had to convince myself that sticking to music and going the music route was the right thing to do. Obviously, there was a bit of pushback from my family. They were like, okay, this is a huge leap. But eventually I was able to convince them because I'm not the kind of guy to go out and party and drink and all these things. So it was very easy for them to eventually be like, you know what? He's going to be fine. So let's trust him. So yeah, they trusted me. I invested tens of thousands of hours learning how to do audio all online. And 2020 was the first time I kind of delved into that world professionally to start releasing music. So not that long ago.
Not that long ago. And we're actually, as it says, at the Placencia Sound Studio. And you've been here about 2 years now, right?
Yeah. So September 2nd, 2024 was when we opened officially. And I had been here since day one. Yeah.
And for you to be able to learn how to be the sound magician or the sound master that you are, I should probably say master that you are, right?
Yeah.
You went back and you said something very important. You said it takes 10,000 hours. And there is over and over literature that explains anything you do for 10,000 hours is what you become a master at. So if you don't put in the footwork, you can't just get good all of a sudden at it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily learning in the books. There's a place for school too.
Yeah.
But I've always found that the people that really master and skill things are the ones that literally do it themselves and teach themselves and then learn from the people around them. What was your inspiration for sound?
Yeah. So like you said, right, tens of thousands of hours. It's different than going to school because in school you get homework. You feel like, oh, it's a chore to have to do these assignments and turn them in, while I was investing all these hours on my own, right? I was intrigued. I was interested in everything that had to do with audio, with sound. Everything from songwriting to producing to sound design, everything the way how sound waves work, right? Because I was big on physics and maths. So that was an easy translation for me to go from physics to sound to frequencies and whatnot and go into this world of sound. So yeah, it was just an easy transition, but music was fascinating because honestly, what inspired me to start making music was electronic dance music, so EDM music.
Okay.
Reason being because I grew up hearing, guitars and drums and all these things. But when I heard EDM, I was like, okay, wait, this is a whole new world. This is like a new thing, right? I was hearing sounds that I had never heard before. And I immediately was like, oh, how do I make this? How is this possible? How do these guys have the creativity to create something that no one else has been creating? That was like in 2011. So right when it was starting to, peak with the likes of like Avicii and Skrillex and all these guys who were becoming mainstream, Calvin Harris and, So that was like right when it started coming up, and I was like, okay, this is something new. This is something different. It's different from all the guitars and drums of the past. So that's what intrigued me. And after, again, learning how to do it and learning how to manipulate sound to create new sounds and new variations of stuff. I started making EDM music in the beginning, but I was like, okay, look, I have a passion for EDM, but what's the logical thing to do? Because if I make EDM, there's not that big of an audience for it locally. So I was like, look, let me take a step back. Let me try and delve into, reggae, dancehall, local genres that I had obviously grew up with because my dad was a DJ. So I used to hear these genres all the time and I was very familiar with them. And then I used to DJ. So I knew how they sounded, how to make them, but I had never really pursued wanting to make them. But I was like, okay, if I want to get into the music industry, I got to start local first. So I started making some local reggae, Afrobeat, dancehall, and I reached out to local artists. And one of the first artists who actually reached out to me and was like, hey, I want to come meet you. I want to come work with you was Stig. He was the first guy to be like, oh, I want to come to your house and let's work on something. Everyone else I had chatted to online. But he was like, no, I want to come meet you and let's do something in person. When he came the first day, I was like, obviously I was nervous because I had never worked with someone in person. And I started I haven't had so many errors. I was like, I'd be recording without the mic being on and, all types of weird stuff. But eventually I became comfortable with it. And that was the beginning of my career, I guess.
Wow. I did not even know that part. Now we know.
Yeah.
Thanks to you sharing your story. And I think you sharing your story and even, for example, Stig reaching out to you and giving you an opportunity to learn and grow and make mistakes, but that's how we learn. Yeah. If you never make a mistake and if you're not uncomfortable, you are not growing. You are not going anywhere. You are just floating, coasting through life. And that's not what we're put on this earth to do. We're here to make an example and be a mentor for others. So good for you for doing that.
Thank you.
And I have to tell you, the sound, just being able to hear this clarity that you put this on me and this thing, I can't wait to hear what this sounds like. So you have shared that you did this training, the education, you focused on what you wanted to do. And if you had looked back, what would you tell another 18-year-old or a 17-year-old that wants to do something that their family may not believe that would be something for them to do? What advice would you give them?
Honestly, you kind of have to lay the groundwork and build that trust beforehand, right? You need to prove to them why they can trust in you, because that's what I did. I spent a lot of time having a really good relationship with my mom, especially to the point where she's like my best friend. She's my biggest inspiration. So we could have these conversations growing up about everything from philosophy to morals and science and literally every topic we could talk about for hours. Even now, last week I went with her and we spoke for literally 5 hours in the living room, right? Talking about philosophy and religion and all these things. And that created that big bond to the point where, she knew, obviously, because she was in that, she was one of 10 kids, right? She was the eldest also. So she had to get her education. She didn't have a choice, right? And that's what motivated her. But when she saw me, I'm an only child also. I don't have a sibling. So she was like, you know what? If her parents can entrust, her for her future, she can trust me with mine. And I had already shown her there's no reason not to trust me. You know what I mean? So she was like, yeah, you know what? It's going to be rough, but I believe in you. And eventually everything paid off.
It did.
Which I'm very grateful for.
Your mom has to be so proud of you. Being a mom, and I know what that's like, she's got to be very proud of you. I give you credit because you watched and you learned and you had good mentor. And the fact that you respect your mom speaks volumes, right?
Yeah, without question. She's everything.
So your advice would be for someone wanting to do something in the music industry or something that's an artist-related field is to build the trust with the people around you so they know that they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Anything creative, it's very hard, right? For a kid to be like, oh, I want to be an artist. I want to be a performer. I want to be, a magician or whatever. There's always going to be that doubt of oh, that's not 100%, right? That there's no chance that really works. But I do believe that if, again, you invest the time and you have the luxury of investing the time, because that's one thing I'm grateful for. I had the luxury of being able to invest all those hours. A lot of people don't have that, right? A lot of people have to work and have to really try so hard for their family and to maintain themselves. And to those people, I commend them so much. But I did have the luxury of time. And to me, time is one of the most valuable assets, more than money, more than anything. And that time was what I took to invest. And yeah, I had to make sure that none of that time was wasted. So especially like knowing all that my mom gave up for me, there's no doubt that I had to make sure it paid off.
You're a great man.
I appreciate you.
I just am honored that you're in Belize and you're being such a good, positive role model for the young men around you. Thank you. That's what we all need. We all need good mentors and people to esteem from.
Thank you.
No, I'm just acknowledging you, man.
I really appreciate that.
You're doing the footwork. And artists are really important, I believe, because there's a whole nother creativity, there's another mind, there's an expression. Your music and sound have power, right? Sound can make you feel things. Words and songs can make you feel things. It can teach you things, right? And the right vibration sound can, and to me, you can feel it, right? You can feel when there's a sound. I can feel this in my ears. It's just different, right? And, we've been able to, at Belize Talk Radio, we've, like Angela Gegg and Pen Caetano and some really neat people, musicians, Brad Patico, who I was talking about earlier, who did the Rice and Beans song and the Christmas song. It just really, they all have songs that give you a lesson in there. There's something in there or something to teach about Belize, like Brad Patico, the Rice and Beans song, right? Yeah. Some people are like, everybody eats rice and beans. Well, no, but we do it different. Belize does it different. Yeah. When I moved here 22 years ago, I didn't know, right? You think you know. Yeah. And I think Stego would say we're not Central America. We're very different, right? Very much so. So I just thank you for being you. I am so excited that if you're a musician or you're wanting to come to Belize, you have a studio where you can actually come and do these kind of things and work with our local artists. A lot of our local artists do things in the North Americas and all over the world too. So there's just a good melting pot of people to work together. Collaboration is always key. It's the best way to always succeed, to collaborate with people. And when you can collaborate with wonderful, good people, then you get to build them up and give them a balance. And good for you for being here. So how do they find you? Tell me about your TikTok. What do you have? Tell them how they can find you.
Yeah. So on social media, I go by Randy Sutherland. I go by my full name. On Instagram, it's Randy Sutherland 29. Everything else is just Randy Sutherland. On TikTok, the studio has a studio page, Placencia Sound Studio, and on it we showcase so many of the artists who have come through, local, international, people from Alaska to Texas to Europe, people from Northern Ireland, from the Bahamas, from all over, people from South America. A lot of people have come through to create almost every genre you can imagine, everything from pop punk to reggae to ballads to orchestral music. I've composed some stuff for like video games and all types of stuff. So anything and everything is a specialty.
Randy Sutherland, it's an honor and privilege to be able to connect with you.
Yeah,
I want to thank you
for
giving us time to let people know about the Placencia Sound Studio, also about you, because it always starts with the people involved in anything that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Like I mentioned, I never do talk shows or interviews.
Yeah.
So you have the exclusive. Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to, tell my story. It's nice to talk about everything that I've accomplished, because I never really do. I kind of always just accept it. But vocalizing it, talking about it really does make me find another level of appreciation for everything that I've accomplished. So thank you for letting me have this platform to talk about everything. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. It's my honor and privilege.
Thank you,
Randy.
Much.
Wherever you're watching in the world, it's Macarena from Belize Talk Radio. We are honored and privileged to bring you Randy Sutherland's story and the Placencia Sound Studio.